Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Research with KB. I am Kashinath Bodal and I am also a learner like you. Today we are going to discuss a very important and commonly misunderstood topic in research methodology. The topic is the difference between primary data and secondary data. Many students, researchers and beginners often become confused between these two concepts. In this video, we will clearly understand the meaning of both concepts, learn their characteristics and explore how they differ from each other through a practical example. To conduct any research study, researchers need data. But an important question arises, where does the data come from? There are two possible ways to obtain data. One, collecting the data yourself, or using data that have already been collected by others. Based on these two possibilities, data can be classified into two types, primary data and secondary data. Let us understand each of them one by one. Let us first understand what primary data is. Primary data refers to original data collected directly by the researcher for a specific research purpose. In other words, primary data are first-hand data collected directly from respondent, participants, or observations by the researcher for the first time. Primary data are gathered directly from the original source through various methods such as survey, interviews, observation, experiments, questionnaires. Since the researcher collects the data personally, these data are considered original and first-hand. On the other hand, secondary data refers to data that have already been collected, processed, and often published by someone else for a different purpose but are later used by a researcher for a new study. In simple words, secondary data are existing data that are reused for another research purpose. There are various sources of secondary data, including books and journal articles, government reports, census reports, educational statistics, website and online databases. Research reports and dissertation also considered as secondary data. These sources provide ready-made information that researcher can use without collecting fresh data. Let us compare primary data and secondary data. Primary data are collected directly by the researcher, whereas secondary data are collected by someone else and later reused. Primary data are original and first-hand, whereas secondary data are existing and second-hand. In primary data collection, the researcher has full control over the data collection process. In secondary data, the researcher has no control over how the data were originally collected. Primary data are collected specifically for a current research objectives, whereas secondary data are originally collected for a different purpose. There are some additional differences. Primary data are generally more expensive to collect because they involve travel, printing, administration and other fieldwork expenses. Secondary data are usually less expensive and sometimes freely available through government website, reports and online database. Collecting primary data is often time consuming, whereas secondary data can often be accessed immediately. Primary data are usually more relevant and specific to the research problem. Secondary data may not perfectly match the research requirement. Primary data can be verified directly by the researcher. Secondary data depends on credibility and quality of the original source. Let us understand this concept through an educational research example. Suppose a researcher wants to study students' attitudes toward online learning. If the researcher visits schools and colleges and asks 500 students to complete a questionnaire about their experience with online learning, then the responses collected directly from the students are primary data. Now suppose the researcher also used report published by Ministry of Education, journal articles, and previous research studies on online learning. The published reports and research studies are secondary data. Therefore, in a single study, a researcher may use both types of data. The researcher may collect fresh survey responses from students as primary data and use published reports and previous studies as secondary data to strengthen the research. Here is a simple memory trick. Primary equals to first hand, secondary equals to already at hand. If you collect data yourself, it is primary data. If someone else has already collected the data and you use it, it is secondary data. The simple rule can help you quickly distinguish between the two concepts. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope the difference between primary data and secondary data is now completely clear to you. If you still have any questions or doubt, please write them in the comment section. I will also provide one MCQ based on today's topic in the pinned comment. Please try to answer it. In our next video, we will discuss another interesting concept related to research methodology or academic writing. Till then, keep learning, keep growing, and enjoy every moment of life. Thank you.